Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to CoreMoodz. And today I'll be talking to you about every book I'm planning to read this summer. It's a mixed list, so let's jump straight into it. So let's start with the nonfiction I'm planning to read this summer. The first book is Reproductive Wrongs, a short history of wrong ideas about women by Sarah Rudin. A short description of the book describes the book as a provocative cultural history that traces how influential texts helped shape endured ideas about women and specifically reproduction and social control. Moving across 2 millennia of literature and politics, Rudin examines the origins of beliefs that continue to echo in contemporary debates. Yeah, I saw the book and I was very interested in the topic, so I thought, let me just read it and see what it's about. The second book is Unveiled, Inside Iran's #Women Life Freedom Revolt, and it's written by Jonathan Harunov. The description says, it's an account of the protest movement that emerged after the death of Mahsa Jina Amini and grew into the most significant challenge to Iran's ruling regime in decades. Combining reportage, history, and political analysis, Harunov explores the forces behind the Women Life Freedom Uprising. I think to me, I'm really interested in topics that involve women, but also that are very much intersectional. A lot of people, when specifically they talk about, oh, we have to go to this country to protect the women and children, in my opinion and in my experience, don't specifically know what protecting women and children actually looks like. I'm just interested about this topic and I just want to know more and read from different points of view. So I think I'm gonna do more research and continue reading, especially when the topics are divisive. And the third nonfiction book that I want to read this summer is The New Age of Sexism, How AI and Emerging Technologies Are Reinventing Misogyny by Laura Bates. And the book's description says that it's about a disturbing and deeply researched examination of how artificial intelligence on online platforms and emerging technologies can reproduce and intensify misogyny. Bates reveals how old prejudices are finding powerful new forms in the digital age. So those are the three nonfiction books that I picked to read this summer. Honestly, I'm really happy that I'm continuing to read nonfiction books on a monthly basis because I feel like it's really necessary to read a nonfiction book. So I always use these kinds of books, and I'm not specifically talking about the books I picked in this video, but in general, it's always a starting point to research and to understand better. And a book gets bonus points if at the back there are a list of sources, other books and references, or research reports or something that the author used or is building on from the sources list. I think looking things up and just being informed is always the way to go. I'm very excited to tackle the nonfiction books that I picked for the summer. So the next 3 books that I'm gonna discuss with you are the books that I'm buddy reading. And the 3 books are, first of all, Jumpnout by Hao Jingfang. And I've read from this author before. I read Vagabonds at the end of last year. And I was really interested by the way they wrote the book and the things that inspired them, because it's a book about colonizing Mars and Mars becoming a little more of a socialist, communist structure, and Earth going into the deep end on the capitalist side, and then those two societies that have basically cut communication. How do they go forward, because both of them need the other, and how young people from each side look at the other side and think the grass is greener. There were a lot of interesting topics and scientific facts that were discussed, and also a lot of concepts, a lot of philosophizing, and also a lot of creative ways of looking at situations. I don't think I resonated with the second and third half because we focused on different characters, and some characters were more interesting to me than others. But overall, I really enjoyed the way the author thought and tackled the book. So when one of the people that I buddy read with suggested reading this book, I was pretty much open, and I put it on my 26 books to read in 2026 because I really wanted to get to it. So it's finally this month's pick. And what is Jumpnout about? A fast-moving work of science fiction that blends advanced technology, Chinese mythology, and geopolitical tension as humanity pushes beyond familiar boundaries. Seems very interesting, so I'm ready to tackle this book. The second and third books are books that I picked to read along. The first one is Madonna in a Fur Coat by Sabahattin Ali, and the book description says, it's a haunting and quietly devastating story of love, loneliness, and the inner lives people keep hidden from the world. Told with remarkable tenderness, it remains one of the most beloved classics of modern Turkish literature. I've seen the cover like a lot of times, and I've been very fascinated because it's a story written by a Turkish author, and it's about, I think it takes place in 1930s Berlin. I was just very interested, so I wanted to read it. I don't know much about the plot. I'm still gonna read it. The other book that I picked is Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. And this book I picked because I heard that it's really grim and very dark, but also very much well written. The book description says, a cosmic masterpiece in which a charming schemer travels through provincial Russia, pursuing an increasingly absurd enterprise. Beneath its humor lies a brilliant portrayal of greed, bureaucracy, and a society trapped by its own illusions. Next, because I want to keep up with my 26 books to read in 2026, I wanted to add a few of the books on that list to this TBR. The first book is Sky Full of Elephants by Sabu Campbell. I saw the cover and I've heard a lot of people talk about it and say how impressed they are by the way the story is told. A few people that I really respect have read it and also recommended it to me. And the book is about, in a near future America transformed by an impossible event, one man navigates grief, memory, and belonging in a radically altered world, blending speculative fiction with emotional depth. The novel explores what remains when familiar structures disappear. Yeah, I'm very interested in this book. The next book is Theft by Abdulrazak Gurna, and this author is an author that I've heard a lot about and I've never read from them. There were a couple of people that also read his newest book, Theft, recently and said that they really enjoyed it, and that made me even more intrigued. The description is, set in East Africa during a period of social and economic change, this nuanced novel follows lives shaped by longing, ambition, and unequal relationships. Gurna brings his sensitivity and awareness to questions of identity, history, and human connection. I'm very interested. And the last book from my 26 books to read in 2026 is Ghost Season by Fatin Abbas. And the book description says, set in a bordering region shadowed by conflict, this atmospheric novel follows a cast of characters whose lives intersect amid uncertainty and displacement. Richly observed and deeply humane, it explores memory, survival, and fragile forms of belonging. I'm really interested in this book, even though it didn't say, but there's also a little bit of a war element, and those books are very intense and very hard to read. For every book I mentioned, please check the trigger warnings list if it's available. I'm the kind of person, I just go into a book, but I can 100% imagine a lot of people needing the trigger warnings list. And because of the topics and because of what I've read from the synopsises, I do think that a couple of these books are really heavy and tackle very intense topics. Take care of yourself. At the moment, I'm still on my Gun Meta Gods series reading journey, and I'm almost finished with Elder Epoch. That's the third book in the Gun Meta Gods series by Zamil Akhtar. I want to finish the series, so that's what I'm currently reading, and I'm probably gonna try, if I get the time, to read the fourth book, Dark Drinker, by the end of summer. And for people that don't know about Gun Meta Gods is a book series written by Zamil Akhtar. It's a dark fantasy saga that blends epic warfare, religious conflict, and cosmic horror in a world inspired by the medieval Middle East and the Crusades. As empires clash and ancient gods stir, beyond the human understanding, warriors, mystics, and rulers are drawn into a struggle where faith, power, and destiny become inseparable. Richly atmosphered and morally complex, the series combines sweeping world building with eldritch terror and political intrigue. Those are the 10 books that I'm planning to read. If I finish those 10 books and feel like picking up more books, there are a couple of books on the periphery of my TBR. First of all, Vagabond by Eloghosa Usunde. This book is set in Lagos. It follows a vibrant cast of characters whose lives intersect across the city, blending the everyday with the spiritual and mythic. It explores identity, queerness, belonging, chosen family, and resistance while portraying the lives of those navigating the margins of contemporary Nigerian society. The second book is Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. This book I've been hearing a lot about, especially about people saying that the writing is very experimental and the structure is very unusual, so I'm really interested. I don't even know what it's about. It says that it's about a young black photographer and a dancer meet in South London and form a deep connection. Through lyrical prose, the novel explores love, intimacy, vulnerability, art, friendship, grief, and black identity, capturing both the beauty and the complexity of the human connection. So the next videos that are going to be up, my spring wrap up. After that, I will probably do the mid-year freak out tag, and I'm almost done watching the TV show The Changeling. After reading the book and being so impacted by it, now watching the TV show, I think I'm gonna do a deep dive because I feel like that book is so complex and so interesting, and I don't think I can do it justice by just talking about it in a wrap up. I'm probably gonna do Summerween, but I have to see how I want to do that. Also, I was not planning on continuing in the Shadowhunter universe, but I was told that I can just go and skip to the fourth series because the second series and the fourth series connect. I think it's called The Last Hours. Maybe before the end of the year, I'm gonna try to read the Last Hours books, but I'm at the moment just loosely interested, so I'm not sure. I don't think I'm gonna prioritize it. So these are the books on my summer TBR. What are you planning to read this summer? Do you have something fun planned? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and bye.